It is an honour and pleasure to introduce our next speaker, something of a groundbreaking celebrity. Nell Nutsford is an artist of considerable standing, having enjoyed 15 years in Hamilton as a practitioner of painting, sculpture and photography. A lecturer at Wintec, no less, she became New Zealand's first astronaut after being invited as an artist to join an expedition with NASA. Ms. Nutsford catalogued her excursions into space in some detail, the agency proving most accommodating in terms of equipment and technical assistance. H-Town's answer to Buzz Aldrin, Nell Nutsford.
Now, when I first started taking these photographs in space, I was absolutely stunned with how clear they are and how close they look. So, no offence to the previous astronomers that have spoken tonight, but I think my images are actually pretty damn good. Like, these images are taken on Mars, and I'd always thought Mars was quite dry, desert-like, but with the proximity of the NASA craft, we're able to get right in close with my amazing camera and see deep into these internal caves and ancient waterways. Some of the caverns were amazingly deep and lifelike and had a sort of a dizzying, crazy sense of space. And although these are formed with ice and water, almost like an internal glacier, they actually have quite a bodily or human physiological appeal as well. Now, with the power of my camera, I was able to get in close, but it was impossible to assess the scale of these images. So is this a whole massive asteroid filling the frame, or is it actually some strange, flayed extraterrestrial being in a rather uncompromising pose? Around Venus, I caught sight of many of these strange. It's hard to know if it's the head of some strange horned creature or whether it's just a large sort of promontory of molten golden rock. But Venus is a tremendously varied planet, and it's prone to extreme explosive cyclical processes. So I actually captured this shot of a volcano physically exploding in front of me, and the subduction occurs at an astronomical level, sort of completely recycling the crust of the planet. Now, although Venus was once covered in oceans, the runaway greenhouse effects have actually evaporated those oceans, leaving these strange, sort of desiccated, honeycombed rock structures as evidence. And yet some of the craters are in pristine condition. Looking at this particular one, no one on the craft was able to identify it as animal, vegetable or mineral in particular. It could have been either of those groups. And it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. Now, Neptune is a really beautiful planet. The distinctive blue magma is due to a high presence of methane, apparently. And from a distance, this planet has an eerie gold-blue glow. And eruptions are continually occurring on Neptune, spurting forth ejections of molten blue magma. So it was quite an eerie moment when I caught sight of this coming towards us. Is this just a hardened spurt of magma, or is it actually some blind space creature? Now this is a slightly less appealing version of the same creature. Or is it sort of an appendage of some strange ossified sort of creature? The scientists said it's a hot, dense lava which has burst out and solidified. So not from Uranus, as you might imagine, but it's actually from the planet of Mercury, which is surrounded by liquid metallic hydrogen, giving everything this rather lovely metallic sheen. And my camera is able to probe deep under the disintegrating outer shell into this dark, sort of haunted wonderland underneath. And homing in, I sort of thought these slumped metallic forms are strangely humanoid, and like some eerie space version of Edvard Munch's Scream paintings, some sort of tortured afterlife scenario. And the tortured forms that I saw on Mercury were probably due to the fact that the molten core contracted and cooled at a different rate from the crust. So it was formed under unbearable tension between the two viscous layers of material. So looking into this sort of crust of Mercury, you're looking at materials being stretched to the absolute structural limits. And that translates, as you're looking at these images, into a sort of feeling of arrested tension or brittle liquidity. And as I the main thing I loved about these space images as I was taking them, that they're actually totally unknown. Although they may allude to things in the world, they're not really like any known thing. So as a viewer, we're forced to decipher or imagine or search within our experience to make sense of them. But this particular image I felt was kind of eerie in a way, that it may have been made by some other artisan other than a pure physical forces. So could it be the prow of some strangely beautiful craft? And as we were heading home through dense clouds of astral dust, I fancifully imagined Atlas holding up the sky from the earth, preventing the two from resuming their primordial embrace. And as I was thinking about these things, I began pondering over the magnitude of what I'd just seen in space, just one small portion of the universe. So is there life in space? And if so, what form might that life take? So as an artist on board this NASA exploration mission, I posed the questions: how is the unknown important to artists? And what place does a sense of the unknown have in art today? Thank you.
Thank you, Nell. High methane content certainly evident